Damn it. It is time to go live. It is time to go live. Are we live? Well, we should be. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to my little hangout. No John today because John and I are usually just running together in the weekends, but lately we have been doing it a lot more often during the week as well. Today it's me and Real Raven. I have invited a few other folks, but not a lot of folks showed up. I hope sound is alright. Michael Keller, how do I sound? Am I coming through nice and clear, or is it utter crap? I am curious. It takes about 30 seconds for him to answer me, unfortunately, so I'll have to wait. Today I am here together with Real Raven. Real Raven, can you say something? Hi there, Ludicrous, by the way. Something. Very well. And today we're going to talk about a quiz based on An Inconvenient Truth, a documentary from 2006. And I did make a video on my channel addressing the first 10 points of the documentary. Obviously, we're going to go through these first 10 points again. There are 90 plus points, so this might be a long stream. I personally think it's going to be funny, but that's probably just me. I'm curious what you guys think. I am obviously more than curious as to what you think, but unfortunately the stream talking goes faster than the chat, so I might miss what's going on in the chat. We will try to keep a good eye on what goes on in the chat. So yeah, there is that.
So Michael said you sound Dutch, so I think that's okay. You sound Dutch on my end too.
Ah, well, there you go. And Michael Keller says you come over clear, but Raven sounds like he's connected via an old telephone, and the sound of Raven is a little bit blockish.
Is this better? 1, 2. Let's just see. No, is this better?
Yeah, I
probably have to wait for 30 seconds.
Yes, you do, but I can say it sounds all right. Hi there, William Carson. Hi there, Ludicrous, by the way. Did I say that already? I think I did. Hi there, Michael Keller, obviously, who has been with us before the stream started. He had money on me flunking the start. I didn't. So there is that. Well, as I said, normally we would wait a few moments to see if more people show up. But considering that I've already done the first 10 in my video on my own channel, Modwayne Aileron, I'm not sure if I should wait for people to come or if we just should wing it. What do you say?
We wing it.
Let's wing it. Here we go. We're going to wing it. There is going to be the first question. What is one of the most vulnerable parts of the planet? I like these open questions. One of the most vulnerable parts. That means that you can have multiple, but only one of them matters. Hi there, Renovatio. Real Raven, care to gamble?
Yeah, sure. Is it the peen?
Is it the peon? No. Okay, let's show it then.
In fairness, this is just a joke, but I thought it. What you hear about is the ice caps melting, so maybe that's what it is.
Well,
the ice,
that's not what it is. The answer they are looking for is the atmosphere. And yes, Ludicrous, I did see your Turing test one. It was really funny. Haven't we seen this quiz already? Well, yes, Michael. As I said, I did the first 10 questions of this quiz on my personal channel, but not on this one. So yeah, we're just going to start with the first 10 questions again, and then we're going to do the rest, which I haven't done yet. And yes, John is not with us today. He might be in the chat, I don't know, but he's not broadcasting with us. I have been trying to reach him, but I haven't managed that. Okay, so one of the most vulnerable pieces of our environment is the atmosphere. Okay, I'm going to say, you know what? I'll take your word for it. Boom, next one. Regarding Mount Kilimanjaro, what does Al Gore say will disappear within a decade? Oh yeah, this is all based on The Inconvenient Truth a documentary
Yeah.
from 2006. So
I remember
is-
that. I'm that old.
yeah, it's 13 years old. So that decade has already been gone. So what is now no longer on Mount Kilimanjaro, according to Al Gore? Anyone want to gamble?
Ice cream.
Ice creams. You're close. According to an inconceivable truth, an inconvenient truth, there shouldn't be snow on Mount Kilimanjaro. So let's look at Mount Kilimanjaro in the year 2019.
Oh
This
yeah.
is boom chaka boom. Oh, this is so. I know this. See all this white
Ooh.
stuff. Something tells me, and
Cocaine, obviously.
it's cocaine. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Maybe you're right.
Everybody, all the
Yes.
drug addicts are going to Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro.
immediately. Can't be snow.
this image is clearly of 14 June of 2019.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dandruff, isn't it? I mean, it can't be snow, obviously, because
Flour. It's flour.
flour. Yeah, that's it. They're having a cookout up there. So yeah, okay. There is no more snow on Mount Kilimanjaro, but there still is a hot chocolate scent. What will disappear within a decade? Answer Greta. I have to admit that I fear for the girl, because I do feel that there's a good chance that she will commit suicide, because in a year or let's say 10, she's going to recognize that everything she believes to be true is a lie, and she's been telling the lie. So I really feel sorry
Well,
for the
either
girl.
that or she has a really brilliant career as a politician. Because
Yeah, I doubt that sincerely. I'm really fearful.
Well, look at AOC. You know, she made it that far.
Yeah,
So-
but AOC isn't an Asperger with OCD. Greta is. I really feel sorry for her. She's being propped up. It's a bad thing. Hi there, Alicia. By the way, I gave you a wrench, so now you can say hi to other people in blue. They now have snow delivered by trucks. I'm not really sure, but I am going to say that's probably not true. Okay, in 650 years, what have the CO2 levels never risen above, according to this? Hi there, Carlos.
No idea.
Okay, according to
I'd say 1%. No.
well, it's
Okay.
not. It's I told you pre-stream.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
But
the
you know, it could
CO2
have been
levels.
higher at some stage.
The CO2 levels are now at 0.03%. And according to them, it's never been higher than this. The CO2 levels in the last 650 years have been higher, but not a lot higher than this. But there's a reason why they say 650 years. Because if we go further back in time, we've had CO2 levels reaching over 2,000 parts per million, which still is 0.2% of the atmosphere, which still is basically nothing. Only those with mod privileges. Yes, well, don't go banning people just for the fun of it. But you can.
It's gonna have a hard time. Most of us have wrenches already, so
Still. So yeah, they do this a lot. They always consider a time period, and then basically start measuring from that time period on. It's the same with how they talk about, for example, stupid example, but terrorism. Yeah, but most of the terrorism since 2002 is right-wing terrorism. Yeah, okay. But there's a reason why they don't calculate in 2001.
yeah.
Which is sickening, but there you have it. Yes, you're not blue yet, William Carson, but who knows? Most of these people were blue on my other channel, and I'm crap with remembering names anyway. Don't ban Toxic. No, be nice. Be nice. That's going to be hard. In which period have the 10 hottest years of atmospheric temperature been recorded? Now, this is a very interesting question. I liked this one.
The hottest years have been recorded.
Yes.
I mean, it can't be prehistoric, or can you record heat in prehistoric times as well?
Well, actually, we can, but indeed, they didn't use those. But
So it's only really recorded with the thermometer, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't
So,
know.
obviously, they're going to talk...
18th century?
No, it's going to be more precisely. 1990 to 2005. And in all fairness, we're now in 2019. The last 20 years have been the warmest year in the last 100 years.
Oh, okay.
But if we go a little bit further back in time, because there was, I think, a pre-medieval warming period which was warmer than this one as well. So, and as I'm 100% sure Carlos is easy to point out, during the Jura Cretaceous periods, temperatures were a lot higher. Am I wrong, Carlos?
By the way, it says the last 14 years. It's a little bit strange. If you look at that answer though, the last 14 years, right?
Yes.
The hottest year was 2005, from 1990 to 2005. That makes me think that the quiz was actually written in 2005 and hasn't
No,
been
this
updated.
this is based on the documentary of The Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah.
So
the question is that 2005 now outdated because they didn't have the data for
that is now
2006?
outdated because it is now basically 2000 to 2019 have been the warmest years in the latest recorded history. But I'm not surprised because we're at the end of an ice age.
Right.
And what ends ice ages?
Heat.
Heat ends ice ages. We're in the last quarter of an ice age. An ice age that started somewhere in the Middle Ages. So it's not weird that the world is warming up. Now the question
Hold on, the ice age started in the Middle Ages? I thought they're like 10,000 years long. That's a very short ice age. It's a mini ice age, is it?
You have long ice ages, you have short ice ages.
Ah, okay. A tiny one, a baby ice age.
But it's not over yet because there's a good
diet
chance.
portion.
There's a good chance this one will take a very long. I'm going to show this one then. Come here. Thank you for showing, showing us this one. Let's see. Okay, here is an image of. I think this is heat, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not heat. Is this heat?
It's delta temperature. It's change in delta T in degrees Celsius in
Yes.
temperature change.
Yes. Okay,
Temperature
so
change.
this is where we are now, and this is where we were once. Am I saying
So it was
this
super
right?
hot.
Oh, it was
hot.
a lot warmer. That's true. That's a lot.
What is this? Benthic O per million. Benthic delta.
Hey, Paolo.
18O. I don't know.
I'm not really good at this,
This
but
is very weird. There's two scales. There's one on the left and one on the right.
yeah,
It's like
I
they
know.
combined two data sets into one.
I have to admit that Carlos is obviously better educated at this stuff than I am.
I thought he's an archaeologist and not a geologist.
No, but archaeology, you have to take in account climate things in archaeology as well. Not so much as a geologist, but still. Okay, the Paleocene thermal maximum ETM, alternatively ecothermal maximum, and formerly known as the initial Eocene or late Paleocene thermal maximum, was a time period more than 8 degrees Celsius warm global average temperature across this whole period.
Mm-hmm.
This climate event occurred at the time boundary of the Paleocene and the Eocene geological epochs. The exact age and duration of the event is uncertain, but is estimated to have been 55.5 million years ago. Quite some time to go. Fair is fair, but it was warmer.
And it lasted 200,000 years.
But
So
that's
5 to 8 degrees Celsius and 200,000 years. And did that kill a lot of like species, or I don't know, or was that
Probably.
before species were there to be killed?
No. There was life already. There was. Let me see if I can. I can send you an invite, by the way, Carlos, and I'm doing it right now. Opa.
Okay.
Because Carlos does want to join now. That's good. Boom. Opa. And now
You know
I'm
that
ready.
that's
Yeah.
on screen now, so anybody
I know,
could see
I
that.
know. Listen, I'm not a big channel, so the chance of people crashing the stream is, what's the word? Minuscule.
Minute.
Yes. So I'm not going to be worried about that.
Hey, Carlos.
Someone said
There
hi,
he is.
Sky.
Hello.
Oh, the Sky. Hey, Carlos.
Hello.
So yeah, and I mean, if we go back, obviously
Can
I
you guys
haven't.
hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you fine, mate. We can hear you fine. Now, obviously, I didn't have the information ready, but we do know that there was a warm period before in the early Middle Ages as well. So
Hello.
yeah, we can still
Hello,
hear you.
we can
mate.
hear you. You
It's-
just have to talk.
Carlos, you can't hear us, it seems.
Yeah. I'll send him a chat.
Hello.
Okay. If you're
Can you
going
hear
to
me?
send, yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we
Mate.
can hear you.
It would help if you'd share a window and not your
Oh,
desktop.
good.
I'm not that good at it, Michael, but you are correct. But I haven't found a good way of doing that, and I'm lazy. No, I need to figure out how it works, because in OBS I have to use the address of the window.
Yeah, the name.
It's a hassle. Anyway, what is the relationship of global warming to precipitation? And this is an interesting one. Anyone?
Well, I would have thought that the current knowledge is that there's more rain, well, or heavier rain or whatever. But I may be wrong.
Well, okay, let's see. Global warming causes more precipitation, but in the form of storms. Relocation of precipitation means drought in some places and floods in others. And you know what the funny thing about this is? It's not true. It's not true.
Okay.
I mean,
you mean that definition isn't true, is it?
yes. Because we know that because of global warming, water will rise up. Kind of funny. Water vapor is far more a greenhouse gas than CO2 ever has been.
Mm-hmm.
Because water vapor will hold heat a lot better than most of the other greenhouse gases people talk about. Thing is, we can't do much about water vapor. But yeah, no, water vapor goes up at one point. There it accumulates. And there it stays. And then it moves along with the winds. And at certain points it...
It's called cloud,
congeals.
is it? Clouds,
So-
is it?
Yeah, clouds are basically vapor. But
Yeah.
clouds are vapor that is close to falling. In the air around you right now, there is water vapor.
Yeah, especially here in Ireland, I tell you. Fucking damp.
Yeah. Well,
No,
there you go.
seriously. I mean,
No,
we have
believe
such a
you.
high,
Humidity.
Yeah, humidity. Exactly. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
but that's what it is. I mean, in the Netherlands, we have humidities of 60-70%. Fuck
Yeah, we have more.
My humidor with my cigars doesn't have that much. Carlos, are you still there, mate? Is Carlos still there?
I think he's some problems. Well, it's so funny because you can see, like, from the musician's
So you guys
point of
can
view.
hear me.
We can
Yeah,
hear
we
you,
can hear you
Carlos.
now.
Yeah,
You have this
just-
thing with musicians
can
in
you guys
Texas
hear
and
me?
elsewhere that they say they have to.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. I wonder if you can hear us though, Carlos.
No, he can't. That's why he's asking us to text him.
Yeah.
Hoppa. So
Yeah.
I sent him a text.
So the people have to add humidity to their studios because the guitars can burst.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? He keeps asking the same question.
Yes, because he can't hear us, mate. And you keep giving the same answer.
Well, he'll have to listen to the stream if he wants an answer. If he doesn't hear anything, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah, did you know that if you have a guitar, you store it at under 50% humidity, then it can crack from the heat.
Yeah,
from
because-
the not from the heat, from the
No, but
dryness.
the wood dries out, and then
Yeah.
it starts
And it just
cracking. Yeah. But global warming causes more precipitation. That's not really true. But, well, it is true because there's more air humidity. And because of air humidity, there will be more precipitation. But the relocation of precipitation isn't true. Now, there are places where the air humidity won't go. For example, in deserts. But why is that? Because the deserts reflect a lot of heat, so the air above a desert is warmer, and because of that warmth, the precipitation will not congeal into drops, so it will not rain there. Air humidity will move on from places like that. Funny enough, if we look at, for example, the savannah, if we now look at the what's the name of the biggest desert again? Now I can't remember the name. I'm really good. It's in Africa, the big desert. Oh.
Gobi?
No. Sahara, that's the one.
Sahara. All right.
Sahara is the biggest desert.
Sahara.
But the edges of the Sahara are turning into steppes. So plant life is growing there, even though it hasn't rained there for a very long time. So why is that happening? Well, it's happening because of high CO2, or relatively high CO2.
Hold on. How is it turning into steps? I just imagine like an
While
escalator
searching,
or something.
Can I just clarify a few things?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, do. Now that you hear us.
Go on, Carlos.
Now we can't hear you.
And the question is if he can hear us.
But he's not. Obviously, he's talking now. And I can't hear him.
Is he talking?
I think his microphone's cutting out or in.
Guys.
Yes.
Yeah, now I hear you.
I can't hear. Yeah. I think it's working now. I can't hear. I couldn't hear myself on the. Yeah. Now I can hear. I could hear you guys on the actuals, but I couldn't hear you guys on the hangout. It's weird. We are not at the end of a night. We are not at the end of an ice age. We are in an in between. Oh no, I can hear you perfectly. Perfectly, yeah.
Good.
No, yeah, I can hear you perfectly, but it's not happening. It's really weird.
I think you have latency or something.
Well, we do have a lot of latency. That is true. If you check,
I think
if you can't hear the
Carlos
hangout,
has latency. He hears us later or something.
If he can't hear
No,
the hangout,
I can't hear you guys on the hangout, but I can hear you guys on that live stream. So
yeah, it would be better
That's
if it
not
was the
good.
other way around, because the hangout has like a 30-second delay
Period.
on what's going
Yeah.
on.
So that's not good.
So
we need to fix this.
Yeah, no, it's probably my problem, not you, Dwayne,
It's
or
your hangout.
It's me, probably my setup.
You need
Anyway,
to fix your hangout.
one sec. I'll
sound
be right
options.
back. I think I know what the problem is.
Okay,
No. I will be right back.
that's all right, mate. I'll continue with the climate change, making the desert green a bit.
I will
because
be right back.
You know,
One
it's
sec.
so funny. It must be a little bit like us talking to Carlos. Must be a little bit like Houston talking to some like spaceship in Mars.
Yes,
You know, it's
yes.
everything's like really slow. You
Anyway.
just keep answering each other's questions that
let's
that's
let's
already
go
long
let's
past.
go to the making the desert greener. These
Oh,
are
cool.
this is actually a picture of the Sahara. There is a Stefan Kruppelin is a researcher and he's been studying it. This is actually getting greener, even though there hasn't been rain for a long time because it's a desert. But because of the plants, the temperature is changing and it's more likely to start raining here now too. Which,
So cool.
yeah, because the whole ecosystem is quite interesting. Can you hear me now?
Are they growing weed there? Can you smoke that?
No,
It was me. I knew it was me. I apologize. I wasn't using Google. I was using another browser. So
That's all right.
it's fucking
You wanted to say
yeah.
something, which gives me a moment to pee. I'll be right back, and you tell your story.
Exactly. Okay. We are not in the end of an ice age. We are in an in-between period called an interstadial, because we are still in an ice age. So it's a warm period between ice ages, and we will, if we will head to an ice age, to a glacial maximum again. That's what the correct term is. It is not a ending of an ice age or beginning of an ice age. We are still in an ice age until there is ice on Earth in any of the highest mountains, whatever. We are in an ice age now. The graph that I sent to Modwayne before that showed the Eocene thermal Eocene. It was a period of warm period just after the dinosaurs ended, when the meteorite hit the Earth and the dinosaurs went extinct. Sometime later, around 55 million years ago, the Earth suddenly became very warm. And I mean more than 8 or 9 degrees warmer than it is today. What happened in that period? Well, life just exploded. I mean, after the dinosaurs, the biggest animal that survived was about the size of a German Shepherd. That's the maximum that survived. It's a fact.
The Germans.
No.
It's a dog size. 35
Dog size.
kilograms, more or less. Let's put it that way. No, 35.
But they were
55
mammals,
kilograms.
weren't they?
No, mammals, reptiles, birds. But the biggest size was about the size of a
Okay.
German Shepherd. We know the size of a German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good size.
The entrance to paradise was height restricted.
Exactly. So every animal up more than that size died, but all the animals
How
below
come?
that.
I mean, were there like razor blades flying around at 1
No,
meter?
it was just well, at the when the dinosaurs were killed by that meteorite, the animals that survived were basically the mammals, hibernating animals, and scavengers.
All right, so the meteoroid was full of razor blades, and that cut off all animals. Who were left.
If you call
Something like that.
a shock wave that around 1,000 kilometers from the epicenter would have just destroyed you, and then the debris that was sent into the atmosphere and out of the Earth, and then coming back all over the Earth, heating up. You know how a meteorite, when it enters the Earth, it heats up? Now
Yep.
imagine that for a week all over the Earth, billions and trillions of tons, enough. The atmosphere actually heated up that it ignited all the forests on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you see what happened, right? That's how they got rid of the dinosaurs, etc. But now, around 55 million years ago, when the Eocene thermal maximum happened, probably due to volcanoes or whatever, a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, the temperature of the Earth went up to what you showed, Modwayne. I don't have it here now with me, but that graph shows the period of the Eocene, how high it was, then it gradually declined, and now we're sort of stable. But we are sort of going back again into a sort of a cooling period, which is weird. We're not going into a glacial maximum, a glacial period again. No, due to our pumping in carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, that is just augmenting the natural carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We are that little bit, but it's not nowhere near the Eocene thermal maximum. So what will happen? Plants are loving this period. In fact, there's been studies that show that in 10 years from back, 10 years, in a 10-year period from back from today, the Amazon forest has become greener. The Earth is becoming greener with all the plant food that we're pumping out.
Yeah.
Carbon dioxide.
This is basically what I was showing a moment ago. I mean, this is
Yes,
an image from the Sahara.
Exactly, yes. You add a little bit of water and the plants will fucking thrive.
And it's even worse because what you're seeing now didn't have a lot of water. This grew basically from air humidity because it hasn't rained in the Sahara for so long. And it's already growing.
I know of that plantation. They are actually watering it, but it doesn't take a lot of water.
No.
That's the good thing about it. It just takes a small amount, and then it will it will create its own humidity, which will it's like a reinforcing system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
So
What
we are
I
not.
said.
We
have you
you know
seen-
what this the glacial the heating up will cause the melting of Greenland. We have to. I've said this before. We have to look at Greenland, right?
Yeah.
If the glaciers melt, it'll stop the Gulf Stream that's heating Europe, and if that stops, do you know what happens? We plunge into a fucking glacial period again.
yeah, but this is probably going to well, actually, this is not going to happen because the latest predictions I've seen based on a model that I actually do believe, and this is the model that is based on the Earth's position relative to the Sun. We might go into a period of cooling again.
No,
Because
but-
we're going to
but
move
that's-
away from the
It'll
summer,
be
baby.
reinforced though.
Sorry?
It's all reinforcing, of course.
Yeah, but no. I mean, we won't reach the danger zone heating that they're all talking
Yeah.
about.
There was
there's
something
no
I
danger
mentioned before
zone.
the.
Jesus.
Can you
Yeah.
can you hear me? Before the stream, I mentioned to Modwayne. I don't know if you've seen. The actual data that Greta brought to. She called it the United Science that she brought to the hearing.
I'll
and
put it in here.
there was it was talked about on. I'm just sharing that right now.
Yeah, I'm sharing
on my
it too,
screen in
and
big.
basically-
Actually, Modwayne. If
Yes.
you click on my screen, it's even bigger.
Yeah, but no,
um,
it's not because my screen is the way it's set up. So even if I screen
Oh, okay.
you, then it
fine.
still will be
Fair enough. We're
small.
looking at the same thing anyway. So the thing was that they predicted that it's going to level out at 2 degrees, and that it's in 2017 it was at 1.1 or something, and then it would gradually go up to 1.5 degrees. And the worst case, the purple line, is if output, it will basically go into saturation at 2.0 degrees and then just stay there, not going to 3 degrees and 4 degrees and 5 degrees and 6 degrees. It just stays at 2 degrees. And so we are basically well on our way to go to 1.75 degrees. And if we can convince China to destroy their economy, and we destroy ours as well, then maybe we can stay at 1.75. And if we don't do that, then we'll go to 2 degrees. So there's basically no difference. It's literally minute,
Yeah.
It's very. That's the data.
We
but
don't
the
have to
thing
destroy
is,
our economy.
Greta did not
Yeah.
look at this data. She did not look at this data.
But
She
let's-
didn't
let's
look
be
at the
honest.
data.
No,
None
her
of the-
handlers did, but she didn't.
Yeah, she
obviously.
didn't like.
But none of,
It's
none
just
of the
like-
climate
by the way,
activists
guys,
do.
Funny.
Don't attack Greta. I
Yeah.
actually, Jesus, I feel sorry for her.
Yeah,
honestly.
me too. I said
It's just
that
maybe
she-
she should have looked at the data. She was
No.
a bit lazy.
No,
you
it's
could
not that she's
ask
lazy.
a 15-year-old to
know.
look at the data.
She does not know. Honestly, she.
Yeah.
I've been put in Twitter gulag for advocating that her parents should be castrated.
Well,
Oh my God! How can you say?
but
that?
I agree. I
mean, they're making a lot of money. I think the
I
guy
think-
he trades stocks or something. He's a trader.
That exactly. He has an energy
so-
stocks or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that he has a really vested interest in
Hi there,
coaching
Nick, by the
her
way.
in the right way.
How horrible a parent do you have to be to use your child? In fact,
Well, I mean, look at it that
child
way.
That has
If he gets
that
very
has
rich, then she will inherit a big.
No,
She
as I
has
s-
mental. She has.
As I said
issues.
earlier,
She
there's a
has
good
And you can
mental
chance-
afford
health
the best
issues.
psychiatrists and
there
the
is
best
a good
medications.
chance that she will
No.
commit suicide in 10 years.
Jesus,
There's a
come on.
huge chance she will
I
commit
make fun of
suicide.
They'll handle it.
autism and shit because I am.
Well,
I am
don't forget
slightly
that
autistic.
her mother is in theater, so this might well be an act.
No,
And then you need to cry. a
Her
little.
mother wrote a book apparently.
Her mother
Just-
may be
just-
doing this as an act, but I don't see her doing this as an act.
No,
And
she's
Well,
been
she might have coached her.
scared shitless. The poor child.
Indeed, she's scared shitless.
Maybe she's just a very good actress.
no.
no,
You know,
no,
girls
no.
are good at acting.
Okay, you know what? Enough about Greta. Let's continue with this.
Raven, I am the most cynical and heartless person on earth, and I can tell you, no, I actually, Jesus, I feel sorry for the poor child. No, I would never do that to any child. Jesus,
Okay,
no.
as I said, enough about Greta. Let's
Let's
continue
get
with the
on.
inconvenient truth. Because what happened to Lake Chad in Africa?
It grew.
Is that part of the quiz? Is it?
Yes, it is. Well, in the 1970s, it dried up a lot, and then they were talking about how it would dry up almost even more, but it didn't. It's growing again.
They should look at Baikal, not Baikal, like the one in Russia. Well, it's not Russia anymore. It's Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
That was caused by socialist policy, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So yes, well, it wasn't real socialism. The Soviet Union wasn't real socialist. I can
Obviously
do
not.
better because I'm a 17-year-old woke kid. It'll be me, yeah.
Lake Chad, I'm going to show it here. Lake Chad has been going down. Why is this in Spanish? What the hell?
Lake Chad became Lake Tracy, says a lot.
No.
Went trans.
No. But Lake Chad
Stacey.
is a large lake, and a lot of people, as this slight image shows here in the corner, Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon are very dependent on it. It was a great lake, and it shrank massively, roughly till the 70s. But
Wait. No one made the virgin joke, the virgin
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and the Chad. Come on, guys. Jeez,
it Chad
became like
freezes itself.
Stacey.
Anyway,
And that
so the 2007 images show that it had already grown again.
all right.
So, yeah, imagine
grown,
that
yeah.
someone in 2005 says, oh, the lake is going to disappear. When it really wasn't. See, the reason why I'm doing this is not because I want to make fun of these ecological warriors, but to point out the lies. And they're proud of it. They assume no one will point out their lies. I mean, Lake Chad dried up to almost nothing? No, it's not true. Is it drying? Is it smaller than it once was? Yeah, sure. But it's still big and it's still growing. Okay, what happened to the tundra in Alaska over the last 35 years? Now, this is interesting. Anyone care to guess?
Dry out. Did it dry out?
It has begun melting.
Oh yeah. That's
Now-
like there was frozen
Yeah.
ground, was it? not?
Permafrost, yeah.
permafrost,
That's
yeah.
also Siberia is also experiencing some.
But considering that the world is warming up, are we really surprised? Is this something we're not supposed to see when the world is warming up?
Exactly, it's normal.
It's normal. Now, we don't know why the world is warming up, or at least they don't know, and they claim they do know.
No, they don't tell us why. We know why it's wrong.
Yeah. It's a bloody yellow ball of light hanging a few light years, well, no, light minutes away from us.
Human activity is causing an increase. There is
No.
no doubt.
Yeah, there is doubt. There's lots of doubt, actually.
No. There is no doubt. I believe that we are causing. But I'm of the opinion of, you know that I've said this many times. It's not a bad thing.
No, well, that too, but...
Jesus,
the
no.
influence-
Let it warm up a little bit. It will. The plant life will grow. It doesn't have to be fucking forests.
True.
Grass is a plant. It has photosynthesis. It photosynthesis. I'm a little bit tipsy. Sorry about that.
But
Not
no,
both,
I mean,
just-
the influence humans have is absolutely...
It
nil
is. It's
compared-
just enough. Let's say it's just a little bit.
Listen, the sun pours more energy over us per day than
Yeah,
all
I know
humans
the sun,
combined
the
use
sun,
per
the
year.
sun and everything. Yes, I'm not doubting
I'm sorry,
that.
but even if we double our energy output, then still we're nothing compared to the sun.
But it's not that we are creating a small enough, just a little bit enough to
Yeah.
increase a little bit. It will
Well,
never, like I said, it will
about
never reach
about
the
3%.
ocean thermal maximum.
Yeah, about
because
3% of
Jesus.
3% of 3,000ths of a percent. That's how much influence we have. 3% of
Yes,
3,000ths of a percent.
I'll anecdote. Yes, you know that I know the science, and I agree with you, Modwayne. We're not arguing semantics or whatever. We know, but we do have that little bit could be enough. But again, it is not a bad thing. It's providing more vegetation to grow. Right,
How's
that
it?
will absorb more carbon dioxide at least during the day. But because the Earth is spinning, and we are not stopped in space and everything, there'll always be a more absorption of. We are just a little bit. It's not bad. No. Let it
Well, let's
run
continue.
its course.
Let's
Let it
continue.
run its course.
Why
We
does
will
the
have-
melting?
Is it known?
Mix-
Does it have any influence on larger, slow-growing plant species like trees? That's the question.
Well, the problem is that we're cutting them down and we're burning them. Everyone focused lately on the Brazilian Amazon, but no one gave a fuck about the Bolivian Amazon, which is still fucking burning, or in the or
Great
in
point.
the Congo, which is also fucking burning, and
Yep.
they're cutting down that shit, or in Indonesia.
Yep.
The Indonesian fires are fucking polluting everything. But I don't fucking hear anyone say, "Oh,
the Indonesian fires in a period of 3 months, they create more CO2 output than the
Than the
whole
Braz-
of Germany.
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah. So it's a
And it's just a
fucking
fire.
political. You're not getting monetized for me saying fuck it. So
Listen, if I'd had a problem with it, I would have said so by now.
exactly.
And you know I
so
don't.
all this political bullshit of the it's basically a power grab by a few, the oligarchs, basically the globalists.
The globalists, yeah. And I mean, there's every Green Deal I have seen, and I've seen a few throughout the last century. Every Green Deal is based on Marxism, socialism.
It's a tax
None
grab.
of them,
It's make
none of them
taxes.
are based on helping the world.
No, it's someone getting rich,
Yeah.
basically.
Anyway,
And power.
why does melting of the Arctic ice cap increase global warming?
No.
Instead of the sun rays bouncing off the ice, they heat up the oceans as the ice melts, and this keeps a lot of heat on Earth.
Anyway, guys, I have to leave. It was an absolute pleasure being with you
Oh, I'm
guys.
sorry that you already have to go, mate.
Yeah, I got to work tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I couldn't resist. I really love to hear your voices again, and
Well, I'm more than happy that you joined us, mate. I really am.
it's allowing me to basically, you know, my problems. I won't remember
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
because if they're my problems, they're not anyone else's. But
Mm-hmm.
it's helping me. So thank you guys, and thank
Good.
you, chat.
hope
Love
to
you
see you
all,
again
guys,
soon,
and
mate.
have fun. Bye bye,
Thank
all.
you. Be good.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers,
to you.
cheers.
Bye, Carlos. That
Okay,
was
so
brief.
instead of the sun rays bouncing off the ice, they heat up the ocean as the ice melts. Okay, this is partly true.
Less
but-
reflection. Albedo going down.
Well, white reflects more than water, and then you have this extreme how do you call it, cycle thing going, because the more the water heats up, the more water vapor will be in the air. The more water vapor be in the air.
Positive feedback loop. That's what you're
No,
saying.
it's a negative feedback loop because it makes the world warmer. The more
No. That positive feedback loop means it doesn't go into saturation. It keeps
but
you
the
know,
thing is,
the effect keeps firing the growth, and the growth keeps firing the effect. That's a positive.
But that's
feedback
not
loop.
true, because it doesn't. There is a turnover
Yeah.
point where the world will fix itself, because that's what it's always done. So yeah, but okay, this is true. If the water if the sun rays hit the water, then this is a problem. But the fact that we still have ice caps and that we have glaciers on continents means that we're still in slight walk of an ice age. What is happening to the polar bears as a result of the ice melting? Now this one
we've
I
seen
loved.
it. We've seen it in Inconvenient Truth. They're swimming around, very sad,
Yeah.
looking for the remnants of the icebergs that are
Yes,
not there
well-
anymore. They're swimming and swimming and swimming.
Polar bears aren't eating icebergs. So that
they-
doesn't
they
make
live on them,
sense.
don't they?
No, they don't live on icebergs. They live on platforms, and whether it's ice or whether it's land,
Okay, well,
That's-
ice platforms then.
if they have to. But the funny thing is, they're dying because they struggle to find ice to live on. That's not true. The
Okay.
population of polar bears has grown in the last, 20, 30 years. And that's not just me saying. Let me see if I can find it real fast. And
It's probably caused by way more space for their natural food source, which is like sea lions and stuff like that. You know, if there's more warming, there's probably more holes and pockets in the ice where those can live.
Let me see.
It would make sense, wouldn't it, if you had more like habitats for the food source of
this
ice
is the wrong
bears, as in, you know, whatever these other animals, the smaller animals, penguins. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
No?
No.
Well, I think that generally with apex predators, there is
Yeah, this is the one I was looking for.
between the like hunted species and the predators, is there not? Like
Well,
more hunted species means
the-
more predators.
Yes and no. Polar bears are apex predators, that is true. And if there's not enough to hunt, then that's a problem. But there's plenty of fish, and there is
Okay.
life. I mean, let's not pretend that there isn't. And we are seeing that there's an increase in the polar bear population. Now, in the southern Beaufort Sea, they claim that there's a declining population. This could be true. The last papers I read not too long ago was that they were at a slight increase. Mount Klimmeksemmel has been growing, which is true. Cane Basin has been growing. All these white ones, they simply do not have information on because it's too cold. We can't check, or it's difficult to check. But they are saying this is where it's blue is stable, but stable means that there is a slight increase. An increase means that there is a huge increase, and declining means that there is a huge or slight decrease. But on average, more polar bears are here now than there were 30 years ago. Even whilst the making of the documentary, the polar bear
Alright.
population had already grown. This is not something from the last... yeah, this is... Unfortunately, they don't show numbers here. But...
Well, they show numbers, populations in decline, increasing and stable.
yeah, but
So,
they don't
yeah,
they don't
that
show
looks
numbers.
encouraging.
But
Did you hear that they sent up a new Forschungsschiff, a new ship up to the, I think, to the Arctic,
yes,
which is going to make. It's just going to stay there and going to be
Yes.
frozen in for the year.
yeah, and then see what
So
where the ice brings
that's
them.
going to be interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting.
And
What
whether
is-
they'll be eaten by ice bears.
Theoretically speaking, it is possible, but I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah.
What impact will the melting of Greenland's ice have on the ocean's currents, and why is it important? Now, Carlos said
Well,
a
one
lot
thing
about
I heard
that.
was that the Gulf Stream might
Yes.
slow down and might even stop, which would be catastrophic.
it
for
might turn
northern
over, it might
hemisphere.
change, which will be which will cause a new ice age. So yeah, now this is how far I got last time. All the things
Okay.
coming from now are new to me as well. Okay, what is the second cannery in the coal mine? Nobody
But
cares.
do we
who-
know? Do we have any data on the Gulf Stream and whether it slowed down? I thought there was some of that.
Yes, there are, but I think the slowing down of the Gulf streams has been put in direct contact with El Nino and El Nino weather patterns. So there is that, but we could look into it more deeper. But let's continue because we still have 80 questions to go. So what's the second canary in the coal mine? According to this one, the largest mass of ice on the planet in Antarctica.
South Pole. Okay.
Because that is dwindling. Okay, well, it's not, because they grow and then they melt and then they grow again and they melt again. It is cyclical.
I think they also had. Do they not have volcanoes down there, which cause ice to break up, or was that?
Yeah,
was
that's
that the
that's
Arctic?
happening there too. Yeah, definitely. There is
Yeah.
thermal activity, Earth
So
thermal
this
activity.
mightn't even be necessarily caused by like the atmosphere heating up. It might
Nope,
just be
no, you're
seismic.
correct. Seismic, Earth. What happened if the West Antarctic land ice melts? Now, this I love. This is so funny. It will raise the sea level by 20 feet around the world.
Yeah.
Okay,
A lot of
if now imagine
7 meters.
imagine you believe this.
Yeah.
20 feet. How much is 20 feet? It's like 5 meters.
7 meter.
7 meters. 7
Well, 21
meters.
feet is it's like divide by 3, and then
Yeah,
you have meters roughly. I think.
7 meters, 7 meters. Now imagine if you believe this. Would you then buy a house on the coast for $15 million?
No, I wouldn't. But then I don't have enough spare money to throw away.
Well, there is that. But I mean, the whole idea of sea level. I've seen articles talking about sea level rise 100 years old. Mm-hmm. They've been showing to the world, sea level rising for more than 100 years.
Oh,
Now-
there's one for you, Modway. Michael Keller just said goodbye, Netherlands.
Well, indeed. I mean, I live in the Netherlands. I live a few meters under sea level. If the sea levels would rise, and they've been claiming that they have for more than 100 years now, if they would, how come I'm still not drowning?
Well, I say I blame the LGBT because they're helping the dikes.
No. So yeah, this
I
is
thought you
this
have
is
dikes.
this is
A lot
this
more
is
dikes.
this is a good way of trying to make people feel scared, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's not true.
But you had dikes breaking in the 50s or 60s, did you not?
Yes, in
Netherlands?
1952 we had the last major break, and because of that, in 1950 they built the Deltawerken, which is the most extensive water protection program that the Netherlands have made. And you know what? They haven't updated it since. I mean, they didn't make it higher or anything.
What about tsunamis? I mean, they probably don't happen so much in the North Sea, do they?
No.
Yeah. It's kind of a bit of a pocket there.
Nice one, Nick. But yeah, no, the Netherlands is more or less protected from a tsunami, but at the same time, we're not. Because
Come on, wait.
if the weather patterns are, yeah,
I am actually Aquarius, and my ascendant is also Aquarius. I'm double Aquarius.
Okay. I'm going to believe you on that.
Completely useless factoid of the day.
Thank you. I am glad that we both recognize that. Hi there, anxious. So, but yeah,
Oh, that's anxious. Aussie. Hi.
even if the water levels would rise, which they've been saying for 100 years, yeah, whatever. We'll fix it when we come to it. But I simply don't believe it. I mean, let's be honest. If we look at, for example, Australia. Thank you, anxious, for showing up. Australia is an island. Every boulder they have is with the sea. Now, if the water levels would have steadily risen, then There's no way Australia wouldn't have noticed. Well, they keep talking about it, but nothing has changed for them. It isn't really getting hotter, and we will not be all moving into the mountains next week. No, indeed. Let's continue, though.
Right.
What would happen if the maps of the world, if Greenland broke up and melted? Now this
Would they
is
get
to
wet?
me, no, this is to me the biggest stupidity out there. Greenland is a landmass. Now
Yeah.
there is ice on top of Greenland,
Yeah.
but Greenland is a landmass, not an ice mass.
Yeah, so Greenland can't broke up, just the ice on top.
Yes. Well, they would need to be redrawn. No kidding. Yes, if the
you know,
water
that's, in
levels.
fairness, that's 2005, you know. They still had maps then, no Google Earth.
But even then, it was stupid. Because even then, people knew that there was land. It's called Greenland, not
Yeah.
green ice massa.
You're just being... You know what I meant, though.
I know,
I
but
mean
it's,
the
it's,
whole
it's the
of
stupidity
Greenland.
of these
But
people.
is it really that much ice on there? I mean, how big is it?
Well,
Is it
most,
really like
most of-
20 meters? Like was it like 7 meters of water, like on the whole area of all the
Antarctica.
oceans? It's a lot
No,
of it's a lot
no
of
way.
water.
No way. The Antarctica isn't that big. But Antarctica too is ice on top of a landmass.
And you must not forget that ice is actually normally ice takes more space than water, doesn't it?
Yes, it
So
does.
if you melt mass of ice, you get less water.
Yes, that is completely correct. According to Al Gore, what collision are we witnessing at the present time
Collision.
between the Earth and our civilization? And I'm going to say
Oh,
no,
that happened
between-
long time ago.
well,
that
you-
collision.
but
collision.
we're seeing a collision between the scaremongers who want to get rich and the sheeple who'll get milked. Because let's be honest, it's all scare tactics to get your money. There's nothing else they want. They want your money. Please pay up. You have to pay up. Did you pay your carbon tax yet? Okay, let's pretend that we paid. What's it going to do? Well, nothing, but you paid, so you're a good boy. Some said it was a propaganda campaign by Eirik V to get people to move there. No, actually, they called it Greenland because at the time it was. When they first went there, it was. But the climate changed. Anyway, let's continue. This is actually true. This is not a joke. When they went to Greenland the first time, it wasn't perfect, but it was not all ice. They did call it Greenland to get people to go there, but you could live there. It turned into ice a lot after that.
Picking up.
Yeah. What is the first of the factors causing the collision?
What is the first fact of the factors causing the collision?
Between the
Like,
Earth
the whole
and
collision
the
thing.
civilization.
That's a really bad metaphor.
It is. Well, the main reason the world is going bad is because people. Now, this is also not new. This is something that the French already did in the 17th century, because it started in the 17th century where philosophers started proclaiming that the world would be too crowded and we couldn't feed the people.
Yeah, they were wrong. weren't they?
Well, they still are. We are still throwing away more food than that we're actually eating.
Yeah.
We have more than enough food to feed everyone in the world 3 times. Now, we don't. I agree. There are people living in starving hunger situation, but that's not because we don't have the food. That has different causes. But population isn't the main problem. The whole world could fit in, let's say, Texas. the whole world could live in Texas, and everyone would have a decent house with about, what was it, 200 square meter? No, not 200. 200 by 200, which makes it. I'm doing this out of my heart. I can't do this. Yeah, let's say 50 by 50 square meters. So 250 square meters patch of land to have a house. You could live there, and then the rest of the world would be to create food and whatnot. We would all fit.
It's an
in
interesting
Texas.
aside there with the overpopulation that they kind of bring it up, but this, what are they called? Non-factual Fridays, or what was it? Frizzy Fridays, something Fridays. They have this these environmental Fridays. Do they only have them in Germany, or is it
I
in
have no
other
idea.
places as well? It's like, where they. Well, I think they must have them in Sweden or wherever where they were as well, where the pupils don't go to school anymore. But anyway, they bring up this thing about stop overpopulation. We will now stop having kids, and they have exactly no influence because they're not having kids anyway. Those people come from civilization, or like from societies that are below replacement level. If they really cared about overpopulation, they would have to go to Africa and like educate people there not to have so many kids, right?
Yeah, well,
Again, another 2 billion on board in the next 15 years or 10 years.
it's-
Another
it's-
2 billion, and they come from Africa.
listen, it's quite simple. Yeah, Western European.
Friday for Future, that's the one.
Western
Fridays for
European
Future, that's the one.
countries and Western Asian countries are the countries that need to change. And the polluting countries, well, no, they can't do anything wrong. This is all a bullshit lie, and they tell it to the most wealthy countries. Why? Because amongst those wealthy countries there are idiots believing the lie, and if you want to get rich, you try to fool the rich guy, not the poor
I
guy,
think-
because you
yeah.
need to fool a lot of poor guys to become
Yeah.
rich.
I think we should rename the Friday for Future to Friday for Freakouts.
Okay, sounds nice. Make us all live in one spot.
It's the point.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should all live in one spot, Anxious Aussie. I'm merely stating that we can. It's not my conversion plan. I'm not saying we should, but we have more than enough room in this world. So people claiming that we don't are basically lying. People saying that we are using up the earth are basically lying. Anyway, why does Gore tell the story of his sister's death from lung cancer? I'm going to say because he's a
Let's go
tearjerker.
I don't know. Yeah.
He tells the story of her death because growing tobacco was something Gore's family had done.
Yeah.
He feels it was a problem he participated in and should have stopped. For him, it connected the dots, something people need to do with global warming. Blah blah.
So did
blah.
he switch over to marijuana then? Did he?
No, listen,
I hope he did.
no. His main income is now telling the world how terrible global warming is. He flies
still?
around. He flies around the world to give speeches at universities and whatnot to tell them how bad global warming is. He flies around in a private jet, by the way. He doesn't go in line jets because then he would be with all the plebs. He doesn't want that. So basically, he's polluting to tell us not to pollute.
Oh yeah, that's a pattern, isn't it? Is it not?
Yes, that is
Also telling everybody the technology is bad and reading your speech from a smartphone, usually a $1,000 one.
Toxic. I'm not talking about stacks and packs. I'm actually talking about your own house on your own ground. So it's not high rises. Now, if, for example, in most cities we have high rises, several stacks, people living on top of each other. That's not even necessary. So that's not what I was talking about. Maybe he should give away all the money his family made from growing tobacco then. Guess that won't happen indeed.
What was illegal in 2005? Oh, all right, yeah, the thing, but it might have changed. I don't know. I just thought like if he has land and he wants to grow plants that are burnt for leisure, then he could have switched from tobacco.
I'm sorry, toxic. Well, maybe. Anywho, why does Gore
Okay,
tell
next
the sister
question.
of his death? Well, because he wants people to have a reason to feel sorry for him. Who did Philip Cooney go and work for after he resignated from the Bush administration? Who is Philip Cooney? I have no clue. He went to work for
Exxon.
Mobil.
Okay, not surprised. I think that
I don't
most
care.
there's
Listen.
lots of Canadian politicians who like are in either the oil industry or the airplane
But-
industry. There's
But
no
do you know?
surprise
Do
there.
you know which companies are now working the hardest to look into green energy sources?
Shell.
Shell, ExxonMobil, British Petrol. Why?
Yeah, because you
that's
can make money there.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
so. Yeah, I don't care.
But I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, okay, then they're looking into the next. They want sustainable like work models. So they look once the oil runs out, eventually they want to switch over to something else. They don't want to stop producing energy.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Complete sense.
What is the one resource that Gore believes we do not presently have to solve the problem?
Probably time. is it?
Intellect. Oh no, that's
Intellect.
one
I
I
like it. Yeah. IQ.
think. The political will to help solve the problem.
The
But-
will.
I'm still going to go with intellect because the political will. There are plenty politicals who want to help. They don't know what it's all about. I mean, the IPCC
I think there
is
will.
basically a
I think
political.
there's no. They have no idea. Sorry, you're right.
They don't have a clue. They don't know what the problem is. They want to fix the problem whilst not knowing what the problem is. And I gave this example earlier, not in the stream, but pre-stream. In the 80s, they recognized that we had phosphates in our washing liquids. And because of the phosphates, in the water, plankton would grow rapidly, and that would suffocate the plants and whatnot, and the fishes, and blah blah blah. We need to stop phosphates. So, on the turn on a dime, they made all washing liquids and all washing powders without phosphates. What happened? The next 2 years, there were massive amounts of fish dying because you know what fish eat? Algae.
Plankton.
And they were gone. Ugh.
Interesting.
And this is constantly what they're doing. They go, okay, we don't know what the problem is, but we think it's this. Therefore, we're going to now drastically move on this, which will cause another problem. Nuclear fission. We don't know how to do nuclear fusion yet, but
What's
nuclear
really
reaction.
bad is that there are three parties to this. There's obviously the politicians, then there's the mainstream media, and then there's the public, and they all kind of feed back each other. This loop of like ignorance. I mean,
Yeah.
just look at the speeches that Obama made. It's just like it's really slick, and it's really like really simple answers. And yeah, it makes so much sense. I don't know. I think it's not that simple, and it doesn't make that much sense. And then we'll just decide some policies, and we'll elect some new politicians based on that. It's all like it's like with Brexit, It's all it's such a bad idea, stopping the proroguing the parliament, and it's just like they don't really think it through. It's just like it just looks bad, so it must be bad.
And Renovatio, yes, I can understand what you're saying, and I agree. We might need to stop AOC too, but don't worry. In
Horseface.
10 years, people will recognize she was lying anyway. What image started the modern day environmental movement? Earthrise. What's Earthrise? Let me see. That doesn't make sense.
Earthrise?
Yeah. Apparently,
Earthrise,
that's an image.
okay. I'm blanking on that. I don't know. The Earth is rising. Earthrise. Oh, all right.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
well,
that.
yeah.
Not
Okay.
sunrise. Earthrise. Okay.
Yeah. whatever. I'm going
poetic
to say
thing.
that I believe it, and I don't care. Roger Revelle and Charles David Keeling were the first to propose measuring what in the Earth's atmosphere. Why did they choose the middle of the Pacific Ocean for these measurements? I'm going to say CO2 because it was close to nothing. Yay! I didn't know this
Carbon
one,
dioxide.
but there you go.
Yeah.
And why are they? You know why they're going to do it in the Pacific Ocean? Not because of human interaction, but to get away from the trees. Because leaves that fall on the floor and start to rot away
Decompose.
release a lot of CO2. 79% of all the CO2 in the atmosphere per year comes from dead trees.
As a musician, I can only say if the, in the jungle when they want to make land for like growing cattle or whatever, beef farming, they shouldn't burn down the wood. They should just turn them into instruments. And guitars from tropic wood are banned. Tropic wood in the use of instruments is banned. But if you actually create an instrument, then you do not turn it into CO2. But when you burn it down, yes, you do. So it's kind of really stupid, to say, oh, you can't use tropical wood in furniture or anything. That actually binds the CO2. I don't know. Maybe that's a stupid point, but I
actually, it's not.
That's kind of.
Actually, it's not. But yeah, no. I mean, it's the whole thing about they don't want solutions. They want you to feel guilty, and they don't want to help think about what might work. I mean, am I in?
It's not like
It's another thing. We've been told that the forests and the Amazon are the lungs of the earth. That's not true.
The oceans, is it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
the oceans are the lungs of the world. Now, trees are very good too, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. So, this is kind of funny because I think 2 years ago in Hawaii, the highest measured carbon dioxide was 411 parts per million, which is really high because on average we're about 300 parts per million. But
that's 25%.
When did they measure that? In autumn, when the wind was blowing from South America towards Hawaii. So basically, the wind was blowing over the forest, took the carbon dioxide with it, and then they measured it in Hawaii. And all of a sudden, it was really high, 411 parts per million. Yeah, because that's what nature does.
You said over the forest, though, CO2 from the forest isn't the forest a net contributor of oxygen and not CO2?
Oh, no. Yes, the forests are net contributors of oxygen. That is true. But every leaf,
also CO2.
Leaf that falls, I mean, they absorb CO2 for a period, and then the leaf falls, it starts rotting, and it releases the CO2 again. Yeah. And that CO2 got picked up. Okay. When in Hawaii they measured it at 411 parts per million. But that doesn't suit the narrative. So they're willing to tell you like, oh, look at this, we measured 411. But they're not willing to tell you how come they measured 411. What is considered the most vulnerable part of the Earth system? Shouldn't that be ecosystem? The atmosphere. Yeah. Okay, we've been there before. Ignore it. Relatively speaking, compared to the Earth, how thick is the atmosphere? It's only a few kilometers, I think.
It's thin.
Yeah.
It's thousands.
Oh, wait a sec.
Oh, is there no answer?
Yeah, there it is.
A coat of varnish.
On the globe, so thin we can change it. No! A coat of varnish compared to the rest. Now the globe has a diameter. No, not diameter. The circumference of the Earth is 42,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
We have, relatively speaking, a few kilometers of atmosphere around us, which is thin, comparatively.
Yeah.
It's not a coat of varnish.
Yeah, I mean it's the atmosphere, so that the part of the breathable part, right?
And yes, I'm sure about that, Michael Keller. And yes, no, the atmosphere
I'd
is
say,
more than.
if you go beyond like 10 kilometers, that's basically it, isn't it? 10 kilometers, and then you'll have trouble breathing with the
Yeah,
atmosphere.
I think
But
it's less than that. Let's see, atmosphere.
40,000 versus 10, right? It's a thin layer.
Yeah,
It's about 10 kilometers. But then there's stratosphere and all sorts of other spheres.
yeah. Yes, lots of typos. I know.
It's okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay, this
There you
is
go.
the air is containing out of. Oh, here it says a 0.4 carbon dioxide. I calculated it
They
to be
updated it.
0.3, but 0.03.
Yeah.
But see,
Well, at least you're in the
1,000.
ballpark.
Okay, the atmosphere has a mass of blah blah blah, which is about 11 kilometers. Well, you were
Three
close.
quarters. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you were
So
close
yeah,
with
11
10.
kilometers.
Yeah, you were close with 10.
compared to 40,000, right?
Yeah, indeed. So yes, it is comparatively small, but my God, 10 kilometers. You don't want to drop it. Hell, I don't even want to walk it. So a coat of varnish, bullshit. How can trapping infrared radiation by the Earth's atmosphere be a good thing? Well, it creates warmth, doesn't it?
Against the ice age.
Yeah, no, it warms up
Warms
the
up
Earth.
the Earth. Yeah.
This is the problem with the humidity in the air, because the more humidity in the air, I mean, water vapor is the biggest greenhouse gas because it catches, grabs CO, it grabs the infrared. How can be trapping infrared radiation by the Earth's atmosphere be a bad thing? Well, because it warms up the Earth. Didn't we have this one a moment ago?
Yeah, we
it
had
can
that earlier.
overheat.
Can
the Earth.
overheat. Yeah. Well, in fairness, overheat the Earth. They just said a minute ago that there's a thin paint of varnish that's 11 kilometers of atmosphere. But when you talk about, if you take literally Earth, that's a much thinner, much thinner
Yeah.
crust. That's not even a kilometer. That's not even a couple of 100 meters. That's much thinner, and yeah, that can heat up, but it won't necessarily heat up the whole Earth. There's a lot of trapped heat in the iron in the liquid molten core of the Earth, way more.
Okay.
So it's
now,
not really the Earth; it's the surface.
yeah.
Again, that's semantics, I guess.
Yeah. Sketch the general trend of CO2 level versus time graph. Draw a
Yeah, we saw
zigzag
that
line.
earlier, right?
Yeah.
Draw a zigzag line slowly going up. Do.
Is this? Oh no.
No,
this
I
is
think
the warm
that's something interesting. Well, that's not CO2. That's the
No, this is the
temperature.
warm
But
one.
there is a pair of, I think, Irish scientists that actually are working on a thesis that they've actually found out that it is an equilibrium, so it can't increase exponentially or even
No, it can't.
endlessly. It's actually an equilibrium. Equilibrium.
Let's see if it has a
and-
graph. Okay, this is a graph.
Where did I hear about this?
So now we are here, according to this one, and we come from this one, which doesn't make sense because I was told we started at 250 in the 1960s. But if we started in 250s in the 1960s, they're already at 300. This is, by the way, funny because here we see the CO2 containment and here we see the temperature. This doesn't seem like a steady increase.
Oh, there's something here I found. Carbon dioxide and carbonic acid. The most common source of acidity in water is dissolved carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide enters the water through equilibrium with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And there is a formula. and biological degradation of photosynthesis involving organic carbon. Aqueous CO2 also undergoes a number of important inorganic equilibrium reactions. First, it can dissolve limestone. Second, it can react with the water to form carbonic acid. Interesting. So
What
there is
percentage-
formulas for these.
I'm sorry. What percentage of people depend on glacial melt for their drinking water? Personally,
Depend on the
sleep well, Michael. I'm not sure how
Very
long
small.
we'll keep going though.
I don't know. It's an interesting
To me,
question.
I don't
Are there-
care. Simply, I don't care. I mean, let's be honest.
Well,
we know.
what is it?
Well, it's 40% apparently.
What?
I don't know how.
40%
it's
of the world. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe all the rivers, maybe they are
Yeah, but not all rivers are
glacial
from glacial.
melt. No, glacial melt?
No.
Well, mountain glaciers, is it?
No, I mean, how many glacials are there in Ireland?
In Ireland?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
How many
Do we have
glacials?
glaciers?
Ireland doesn't have glaciers.
Yeah.
How many
We have
glaciers
well
are
water.
there? How many glaciers are there in Spain, France, Italy, Czechoslovakia, blah 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 blah? A lot of countries I can name. Most countries do not have glaciers.
Well, those have like big rivers like the Danube and whatever, and they are
Yeah.
fed by partly by glacier.
No.
Are they not?
No, because
Inn.
there aren't that many glacials anymore. I mean, okay, the
Well,
Danube.
mountain glaciers.
Yes, I know mountain glaciers, but still, there aren't that many.
Yeah, you don't need that many. I don't know. Maybe it's all
Create
a
drinking
lie.
water for so many people. You do.
Yeah.
You do need a lot.
Well, it is a lot. In fairness, those mountain streams are huge. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
40%.
I don't
40%
know
of the
how they
world.
calculated.
Okay,
that.
let's assume the whole of Europe drinks glacial water. The
Yeah.
whole of Europe.
Yeah,
The whole of Europe is a few 100 million. That's not
Yeah.
40%. 40%
Yeah.
is close to 3.5 billion.
yeah.
So
Which
how are
means
we going to get
Africa-
that?
Half of Africa needs to be included.
Well, but they don't have glaciers in Africa. They don't have glaciers in most of Asia. They don't have glaciers in most of America. How are we going to get to the 40%?
I don't know. Well, maybe we should just set it down to citation needed, huh?
Well, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, but the countries you named, like, France, Spain, whatever, Alps and Dolomites, so Himalaya, Sweden,
Now,
the glacier of Sweden.
why is studying ice cores important? This I actually agree with. I don't know the answer they're giving, but I think studying the ice cores is
history
important.
it shows you, like, the history of,
It shows us
CO2.
and not just the history of the CO2. It also shows us the history
temperatures.
of temperatures, because
Yeah.
the ice is stronger and thicker and opener and blah blah blah. You can see the difference in temperature in ice of the year. So yeah, it is very important, and they have studied it, and because of the studies, they know that it has been far warmer than it is now. But yeah, how far back goes the CO2 record in Antarctica? I think
How far back does the CO2 record? Oh, I don't know, 30,000 years? Oh,
Actually-
cool.
yeah. But they won't tell you that here, even though they knew this already, because
Yeah.
it doesn't fit their narrative.
Yeah?
Hmm.
Why, what happened between 650,000 and 1 million years ago?
Well, it's very clear to see that CO2 was higher and temperatures were lower.
Mm-hmm.
That means that CO2 isn't the driving factor in global warming. They don't want
Okay, but I bet we'll see a different answer here in the next question.
that. What is the relationship between carbon dioxide and the atmospheric temper? The more CO2, the warmer it gets. This is factually not true.
Maybe it was in 2005.
No, even in 2005 they already knew.
Yeah.
I'm seriously going to. I haven't prepared any of this, but I know this is factually not true. I'm going to make a video about this pretty soon. Sleep well, Nick. And thank you for joining us, mate. Over what time period have the hottest 10 years on the Earth occurred? What year was the hottest so far? Well, if we're going to...
They say 2005, is it not?
Yeah. If we're going to take, say, contemporary history, then yes, definitely the last 20 years. If we're going to look slightly deeper into history, we don't have to go that far back. I think in the Middle Ages we already had warmer temperatures. So, yeah. How many people died in the heat wave in Europe in 2003? How hot did it get in India in 2003? How many cities in the West were hit with all-time temperature records in the same year? People die all the time.
Don't care. Yeah.
3,000. How many people died in Europe the year before? And the year before that? And the year before that? I'm going to tell you, it's probably going to be around the same number.
It's a sample size of 1 anyway, so there's no...
Yeah, 200 cities and towns were hit with their all-time temperature record. Yeah, so what? We're at the end of an ice age. I would be very surprised if we didn't see that. I'm just filling in the quiz, basically. Well, actually, they're asking questions and they give the answer.
Yeah, of course, because it's a push-pull kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the Democrats asking you who you're going to vote for and why not Hillary.
Yeah. Who warned the Europeans that the era of procrastination, of half measures, of soothing and baffling experience, of delays is coming to its close? In its place, we're entering a period of consequences. Greta Thunberg.
No, what was his name? Not Nosferatu.
Nostradamus.
Yeah, Nostradamus.
Sir Winston Churchill. Okay. I did not know Sir Winston Churchill was a climatologist. I'm sorry.
Yeah, fuck. The more you know.
The more you know. As the water temperature under a hurricane increases, what happens to the wind velocity of the storm? Now, this is funny. If the water temperature increases, the wind velocity becomes stronger. Why? Because the wind velocity in a hurricane is based on the temperature above and the temperature below, and the way that these two air thingies go past each other.
Currents, yeah.
Currents, yes, and that causes storms. Funny enough, what we are seeing is that it doesn't work, that the wind comes harder because of the water or the air being warmer down below. Because if that's what we would have seen, we would have said that all of the hurricanes in the last 100 years, the more we are to now, the stronger these hurricanes are. And the funny thing is that we were talking about this a moment ago.
So what I heard, I don't know whether that's true, but that the ideal conditions for hurricane is a certain temperature, I don't know, 23, 24, I don't know, something in the 20s, right?
I have no idea.
That this condition that was the contention was actually just met more often, you know, through the
I have
warming.
no idea. I have no idea what, but if
25 degrees or something, I think.
If global warming is the main cause, then we would see stronger hurricanes.
Yeah.
Not so much more, but
I'd
definitely
say maybe
stronger.
not necessarily stronger, just more.
No,
just
we
more.
would have seen stronger as well, because the strength of a hurricane is based on the wind size, right? So, category 3, category 1, category 2, category 1, category 2, category 3, category 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1. So, it may be a little bit stronger in Alabama. It's a little bit stronger in Connecticut. Oh, sorry, I say a little bit stronger. The strongest one in Connecticut was in 1954. So that was a little bit long ago. Here we have the later we get, the stronger they get as well. Fair enough. The strongest one in 1935. 1935. Oh no, there's another one in 1992. And in 2018 is the last one. Fair enough. Where are we? We are in Florida. And if we look at Florida, okay, this period seems relatively easy, but since 1896, actually in 1894, we see an increase in strength. Did it already start then? Global warming is bullshit. It was hotter in Australia 100 years ago. Indeed, anxious Aussie. I mean, if we look at this one, in Georgia, the biggest hurricane or the strongest hurricane was in the 18th, end of 19th century. That's like 100 years ago. So here again, more than 50 years ago. If heat causes stronger storms, 50 years ago, I don't see it.
So, see, what I heard wasn't stronger, but more. Just more often, you know. But that's what I heard.
But also that we don't see. That's kind of funny because I have to scroll down, I guess. Hoppa. Because if that is true, in the 1990s we had a lot, but in the 2000 and 2010, it's already going down.
Weird.
Yes, because what they say to what is actually happening are not correlated. Basically, they're lying through their teeth. What happened to Lake Chad? We've already had that one. Hey, they're repeating.
It turned into Lake Stacy.
What happened to Lake Chad over the years? It dried out. No, it didn't. But we've already had that one. How much more of the sun's radiation gets reflected by the ice? Okay, that's more than 10%. So that means that 90% of what the sun pumps in isn't reflected. And the sun pumps out per day about the same amount of energy we need in a year. So only 10. So even if the ice would completely melt, that's only a difference of 10% that's being reflected. That's nothing. Well, it's 10%. It's something, but it's not a lot. What redistributes energy from the equator to the North and South poles? I'm going to say the water and the winds. Hi there, Dominic, by the way. Climate change is fake news.
Stream,
yes.
Gulf Stream or something. Or maybe that's too concrete.
Yeah, ocean and wind currents.
Ocean and wind. Okay.
Doom, doom, doom.
Dum, dum, dum.
And you know what happens when you turn on the light?
What happens when you turn on the light?
Darkness goes away. Yeah, fucking hell. Oh, you know what moves the warmth from the equator to the rest of the world? Well, the wind and ocean currents. No kidding, Sherlock. No, it took a bus Sherlock. Last time I checked. Fucking hell. This is supposed to be intelligent. If the ice sheet of West Antarctica were to melt, approximately how much would sea level rise? Okay, we've already seen this one as well. They say 20 feet, right? Oh, yeah, they say 25 feet. It just got 5 feet higher.
Yeah, but that what was it? That was Arctica and the other one was Greenland. So one was South Pole, the other one the North Pole. Is it?
Oh, yeah, no. Here they say the North and South Pole. No, wait a second. My bad.
No, they said the Arctica. No, Antarctica. Western Antarctica. That's weird. First they say Greenland, then they say Western Antarctica. Strange.
Yeah.
Very strange.
So, okay, 35 years ago, there were 225 days each year that you could drive on the Arctic permafrost. How many days can you drive there now? I know this. It's less. It's roughly half. There you go.
75.
75 days. Well, what
why
do you know?
Why would you want to drive on ice?
Well, because in Alaska, to get to certain places, ice runs are necessary. Who's leaving? Oh, see you later, Renovatio. Thank you, mate. Have a good one. See you next time. Antarctica
Anxious.
is a
Or
large
she-
amount
or
of
she
land
did
under that ice.
retract something. Now I want to know what she said.
Yeah, she retracted her own message, so I don't know.
I know.
Anxious, we're curious. What did you retract?
It was probably terrible.
By how many percent has the Arctic sea ice extent and thickness dropped over the last 40 years? 40%.
Oh yeah, you duck go that shit.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
Bam bam bam.
30% increase in Arctic sea ice.
over the past decade. When was
Yeah.
this? 2018.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, okay,
in the
there was
works.
let me see. And I didn't plan this, by the way, people. I really didn't.
No, they've
There was a
they
40
just
degree
failed to
decrease,
blackpill you.
and then 2 years later there was a 30 increase. So in total, there's only a 10% decrease. Okay, I can live with that. So it's slightly smaller than it once was. The Russian army drive on the ice all the time. Yes, they do. Not just the Russians, by the way. In Antarctica, this is happening a lot too. But the ice is not so strong, so they have to be a little bit more careful. How soon could the Arctic sea ice be gone in the summer? How far have polar bears been swimming in the open water looking for ice? Polar bears are not looking for ice. They're not. Ice is not some delicacy for polar bears.
They're looking for sweets.
They're
Not for
looking
ice.
for land. They're looking for something
60
to
miles.
stand on. 60 miles or more. Which one? How many percent has the Arctic ice extent and thickness dropped? Oh no, sorry. How soon could the Arctic sea ice be gone in the summer? 60 miles?
How soon? 60 miles. Wow.
That doesn't make sense. And how
Yeah,
far have the
it should
polar
be a
bears been
time. How
swimming?
soon? It's incoherent, like Greta.
Some ice sheets did something. Indeed ludicrous.
They did something. Alright, I get it.
What continent was sent back into the Ice Age conditions for 500 to 1,000 years when the
Okay,
ocean
okay,
conveyor shut down?
Eurasia.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Europe. But Eurasia.
Europe.
Yeah, but Europe. Because that's when the small Ice Age started. And we're still in the end of it.
Yeah.
Polar bears are looking for a nice, tasty seal pup or big fish. Fish will do too, or birds. Actually, anything.
Penguins.
Anything. No, I don't. I thought penguins lived on the other side of the world. In the crusts, in the climate. Approximately how many new diseases have emerged in the last 25 years? Now this is a nasty one. Because a lot of diseases...
Oh,
that
well,
have-
I know one anyway, gender dysphoria.
but that's not a disease.
It's a mental disease.
It's a it's a mental affliction. That's true. No, but a lot of diseases aren't new. They've been around for the longest time, but they were confined to small pieces of Africa or the Amazon. But because of our traveling, we took them with us everywhere around the world. So they're not new. We
Never
just-
forget, diversity is our strength.
Yeah. So this is
Said the bacteria.
yeah.
Said
this
the
is-
virus.
Said the virus. So this is not really true. What is the alarm bell for global warming? Give us your money. Oh, okay. Breakup of the
Well,
ice shelves.
I only know she has played hair. This alarm bell. She goes, where?
It's seals
Greta.
and orcas who
Greta, where?
live on both Arctic and Antarctic. Okay, I thought... Oh yeah, seals. Yeah, but not penguins. That's what I meant. Yeah. And Antarctic is that it's without ice bears. Right? I think, yeah. What percentage of scientific articles disagree with global warming? Actually, this is a wrong answer and I already know it. I'm going to answer it. None. This is not true. This is 100% not true. There is an Australian publishing house that publishes scientific papers that have basically agreed that they will not publish any paper that disagrees with global warming. Because they don't think it's science. Even though the scientific papers can be 100% accurate, they will not be published. And this is not happening only in Australia. This is happening in a lot of countries. You are not allowed to prove this wrong.
Yeah, that was the problem with this pair of Irish scientists, that they weren't allowed to publish that.
I'm going to show this
they
one
had
again.
to search
by the way.
for an external publishing house. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But they reckon they might get a Nobel Prize if it get actually published.
Eventually, these people will be heard because you can't keep these.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. But I would advise people to look up Stephen Kruppeling as well. I mean, he's a geologist, and he's been studying stuff for a long time as well. And basically, he too keeps saying this is bullshit. So the whole non-bit, no, it isn't. There are lots of scientific articles that disagree with global warming.
Yeah.
Actually, more than half of them disagree with global warming, but the IPCC doesn't acknowledge them because it doesn't fit their narrative. I mean, not too long ago I was listening to an interview of a Swedish researcher, and he was talking about how the whole idea of global warming and sea level rise was such a big deal. And he's like, I don't understand how this could be a big deal, because part of the team of scientists that spoke about the problem of sea level rising were Austrians. Austria is a landlocked country. What the they don't have any
we can't
evidence.
trust the Austrians.
Well, it's not that you can't trust them, but
no, it's just
it's
there's
weird.
so many Austrian jokes in Germany.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It's like the Belgians from the Netherlands. Yeah. But it's so weird that they don't listen to people from the Netherlands when they talk about water levels, or Australia, which is a waterlogged country, as is New Zealand. No. But let's listen to. I mean, that's almost like listening to people from Switzerland on how terrible the water temperature has risen in the ocean. I'm sorry, you're too far away. Indeed, 40,000 scientists disagree with global warming, and most of the scientists dealing with the IPCC also disagree. I think it was in the 90s when there was a huge controversy, because there were actual scientists that were part of the IPCC that published emails where they were forced to push a certain narrative even though they disagreed with it.
See, you get around this problem by just redefining scientists.
Yeah, well, that's what they did.
They are not scientists.
Yes, that's what they did.
These are just activists.
Would sea water level rise also benefit the large empty lakes? And well, most likely it would if it just kind of would happen. But it doesn't happen. They keep telling you it does, but unfortunately. What percentage of the articles in the popular press disagree with global warming? Again, none. Because they're not allowed.
0.
Oh.
All right.
About half of them.
Okay, so they want to show that you can't trust the press if it disagrees, because there's no scientific articles.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
It is. Who said it's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it? I don't know who said it, but considering that Al Gore is now a millionaire after he started with the inconvenient truth bullshit, I think it applies to Al Gore.
Yes.
I Upton
point.
Sinclair. Anyone ever heard of Upton Sinclair? I think I should have, but I can't remember.
Sinclair, wasn't that the Sinclair, wasn't that a mini computer called Sinclair?
There was a computer called Sinclair, yes.
Yeah, and that might have been named after this guy. I'm serious.
Ludicrous, that is not nice. What did those sponges ever do to you? We have an inland sea with no water. Must have been the indigenous who made that dry up by the current logic. Anxious, doesn't that sea pop up ever so often? Because I think I've read about it. It's an inland sea where you can actually surf sometimes, but then it dries up again. I forgot the name. I have to look it up.
It's called the Sheila. No.
No. In the balance of the economy versus the environment, what is weight against the gold bars? Survivability. Oh, it's too costly, seek a more effective, many job losses. How about reality?
They're not wrong.
Yeah, but how about reality? I mean, I'm sorry, but you're pushing something which is
Also,
a blatant lie.
you know, it's funny they don't. What I find quite interesting is that they don't say that industrialization is directly responsible for pollution. They don't say that, right?
No.
Not yet, anyway. And if you look at it, then it's actually the industrialized countries that really care
Yeah.
about like being environmental friendly. So you
Yeah.
need to go through that phase.
Yeah, which is true.
If you don't do
I mean,
it,
if
well,
you
then
look-
you just
if you look at
keep
Europe,
getting in the river.
and it is funny, but if you look at Europe, Germany at this point in time is the biggest polluter of Europe, even though they are, theoretically speaking, the greenest country. France, on the other hand, isn't as polluting as Germany, but they're not a green country. But they produce half of the CO2 as Germany does. And France isn't half as big as Germany. So what are they doing different? Well, France is creating energy nuclear. Whereas Germany is creating energy green.
Coal.
No. Well, yeah, obviously they're using coal, but they've got solar
Green coal.
plants and wind farms, and it doesn't work. So therefore, they also have coal plants to pick up the slack, which is far worse. I mean, having a coal plant run non-stop is better than having a coal plant run, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn on, which is far worse.
All right. Didn't know that.
Now you do. No, but it's actually true. Stop global warming, kill all the livestock that farts. No, I like my meat.
Well, and don't forget all vegans also.
Well, you could kill the vegans.
can't-
I don't mind.
They
No,
contribute.
that's not nice. No, you
They-
can't kill vegans. Don't
have a lot-
harm the vegans.
They have a lot of farts.
Yeah, true that. True that. List 3 factors causing the collision between civilization and Earth. People want to control
Three
other
factors
people.
causing collision. The collision again. This is so
Yeah.
stupid.
But people want to control other people. People want to get richer. People want to pull one over other people. I think those
Greed.
are the 3. Greed. Population, no,
science,
that's
our way
not a
of
problem.
thinking.
Science, also not a problem. The fact that we're lying about science is a problem. And our way of thinking.
Yeah, talk for yourself. That's what I would say. Our way of
this
thinking.
This is rubbish.
Exactly, your way of thinking.
Yes, indeed. The Greens in Germany shut down the nuclear plants. Kind of funny because nuclear is the greenest energy source we have. Makes you wonder why they clean it. Approximately what percentage of global carbon dioxide emissions come from forest fires? About, I'm going to say half.
25?
No, it's about half. No, it's about half. It really is.
Okay. 30. But I was closer. Well, that was
You
in
were.
2005, so maybe there's more. I mean, maybe we've cleaned up our act and we can't stop the fires. I mean, that's the problem when you do a quiz from 2005, right? It has to be out of date necessarily. And it is?
Yeah, it
Vereinigte
doesn't really
Staaten.
say. Half of all the fossil fuels burned, which is bullshit. We didn't start the fire. Okay, blah blah blah. I'm trying to figure out this thing. For the year 2010, estimated 8.9 million tons of carbon dioxide was produced worldwide. Okay. Uh-huh. That doesn't make sense. Because if I put this all together, I don't get to that.
Hmm.
Okay.
Your
so
data is wrong.
no, it's not that it's wrong, but I'm fast looking over it gives me the feeling that it's not being. Wildfires release as much CO2 as cars. No, they release far more. Come on. Okay, so there are no numbers. Here it is.
All right.
After last week's devastating wildfire, the NCAR study analyzed the emission with the model. She estimated the fires emitted 7.9 metric tons of carbon dioxide
Okay.
from the 19th to the 26th, so that's in 5 days.
Okay. Doesn't sound like a lot. 7.9 tons or million tons?
Million metric tons.
Metric tons.
7.9 million metric
Million.
tons. Now I'm going to
Okay.
go somewhere else to say something else. See if I can find it like that. I think it's this one. No, it's not. See. Is this it? Nope, it's also not it. I hate this, guys. I'm sorry. I should have. Hup.
It's fine.
Hoppa. I want to find the EU because I have. This is the one I'm looking for. There you go. No, this is also not the one I was looking for.
This is not the
By the
robot
way,
you are looking for.
it's kind of funny. Look,
These
we
are not
went.
the androids you're looking for.
Yeah, this is not the droid I'm looking for. We went from
Good
this
night,
to
Paulo.
this.
Paulo.
Dobra
Paulo's
noche,
leaving.
Paolo. Sleep well,
Yeah,
Paolo.
boring, boring.
Thank you for joining. This is not the one I'm looking for. And the
What are you
worst part
looking
is,
for?
from the European Commission.
Oh,
You know,
I don't believe any statistics that I didn't forge myself.
I didn't forge myself. Bloody hell. This is not it. Not this one. I use it in one of my videos some time ago. This is not it either. So I know it should be there, but blah blah blah. Nope. Nope. can't
Nope.
find it fast. This is annoying. There we go. Yeah, here we are. Okay. Greenhouse gas emission in the EU and the world. 82% of greenhouse pollutant worldwide is for energy creation. Yeah. Or actually 78 is. Now, Germany, as I said, about 900,000.
Mm-hmm.
900,000 kiloton. How much did this do? Where were we? 7.9 metric tons. And a metric ton is also a kiloton, if I'm not mistaken. Because a meter, I think it is.
A
meter
metric
is
ton is a thousandth of a kiloton, right?
Yeah, I think so too. So, a forest fire of 5 days created more greenhouse than Germany.
Yeah.
The United States in total creates 6,350,000 kiloton of CO2.
Mm-hmm. In which year?
In a year, in 2012.
2012, right.
China doubled that, by the way. Kind of funny. I do. Sorry, go on.
Sounds plausible.
Yeah. No, I love how they put European Union as if it's one country. Well, not. But never mind that. Okay, so the total output is 6 million kiloton. And here they talk about how a forest fire of 5 days put out 7.9 metric tons. Is a metric ton a kiloton? Let's try.
I don't think so.
Yeah, me too.
I'd say a metric ton is just... I don't think there's a thing as an imperial ton. You know, all tons are metrics. I think it's a bit redundant to say metric ton.
Maybe.
You know.
Oh!
A ton is 1,000 kilos.
So 1 kiloton is 907 metric tons.
Metric tons. Oh, that's actually US kilotons. I didn't know that.
Apparently.
That's weird because a kiloton is a metric ton. That's so weird.
Okay, so
kiloton.
How much did they say? It was 7.9
You'd think that a kiloton is 1,000 tons, right?
Yeah. Okay,
but
if I put this at
it's a metric ton.
7.
I don't know. Very strange.
9.
Well, you know, the decimal system the metric system is really simple, you know. 1,000 kg is a ton. That's it. That's all you need to remember. And it's not like, oh, an ounce is like 3 farthings. And I don't know, like you know, a kilometer, that's 1,000 meters.
8,000 kiloton greenhouse gas emission.
So weird.
8,000. So in 5 days it created... I have the feeling that I'm not calculating this right. 7.9. In 5 days it creates 8. So let's... I'm terrible at calculus. 8 times 365 is okay times 8. Oh no, wait a second. That's wrong. I have to. This is 5 days.
Okay.
So 365 divided by 5. Okay, times 8. So 584. Oh, no, here we go. 584, 8, 584. So that would be. I'm terrible. I'm really not good. 584 times. Times. So now I have to do this. 8, 4. I'm sorry. I'm totally fucking it up. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, Mars would not wane at well past midnight. I'm sorry, people. I have to do the calculus on this one. I will. Soonish. But, okay, so a
I won't
metric
do
ton...
it. I'm not interested.
a metric ton is a little less than a kiloton.
All right.
So that's good to know. Well, the answer is lots, yes. But, so we have one fire for 5 days. Which creates as much CO2 as the cars combined in the United States, which is funny.
Crazy.
Anyway. They said it, not me. Come on. So, approximately what percentage of global carbon dioxide emissions come from forest fires? I still disagree with this, but never mind. We only found one forest fire, and I noticed
So what
that
did they say?
they said
30%.
30%. I think it's a lot higher. What country is the largest contributor of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere? China!
Yeah, that might have been different in 2005.
No. No, it wasn't. No.
It was already China in 2005?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not even close.
Yeah?
Look at how it is now.
2012. Well, you're looking at 2012. I said
Yeah,
2005.
do you think China
has grown in the
grown
last 7
that-
years? Yes, I think so.
that much that they
Yeah.
went from less than the United States to double the United States
Yeah.
in 7
I
years
believe
time?
that. I believe
don't
that.
believe that.
I mean, it sounds plausible to me.
Okay, let's.
And now shrinking again, but they had a good run.
They're not shrinking. People keep saying that, but they're not. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong too.
China to cut emissions intensity by 65 from 2000 to 30. They want to cut emissions.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that they would want to cut that from 2005, considering that they're at double the USA. But yeah, it's a little bit bigger than America as well. Let's be honest. Today, China's biggest population, blah blah blah. Global emissions almost double that of the US. And when is this written? It doesn't say when it's written. June 2015. So that's useless. That's not the one I want.
What do you need? 2019?
No, I want
18?
2005.
All right, 5.
Because that's what we are looking for, right?
Yeah.
2000. Okay, let's. This 2005. Here. Go away, you. Doesn't
That's
show
the problem
anything.
with these things. They never provide citations.
But this is before 2005 because this is not quite in the middle. So I'm going to say that in 2005 China was already higher. I think this is 2005. Okay. They're just naturally short. But yeah, China, not the USA, not even in 2005. Which country has the lowest government standard for gas mileage of automobiles? Huh? Which
The
country
lowest
has the
standard for
lowest
government standards.
standards?
Probably America. I mean, they got the gas
Okay.
guzzlers there. It's pretty
Okay.
well known for that.
Well, yeah. Okay. Which two nations have not signed onto the Kyoto Protocol? Actually,
Well,
there's
United
lots of
States
them.
of America and Paris. No, I don't know what the second one
Australia.
was.
But there were more countries
That-
that didn't sign, as far as I remember, because most countries were like, "Yeah, no, you know what? This is not really anything." That's why we're
It's
still
anxious
talking.
Aussie's fault, obviously.
No,
Australia.
anxious is okay. What image started the modern day? We already had this one. Earthrise. Yeah. The atmosphere. 10 kilometers. See, I have the feeling we're going around in circle.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I should also put a nail through your other foot.
How do you mean?
You know, you said you have a feeling you're going around in circles, so maybe
Yeah.
I should put a nail through your other foot too.
No. What is the relationship between carbon dioxide? There is none. Yeah, okay. How come they say we've got 19 questions when we're already doubling down? All of these questions we haven't had at least once.
Well, they didn't say unique questions, in fairness. You know, it could be the same question asked 10 times
Yes,
in
well, it
different
seems that way.
wordings.
Well, in that case, we're done a lot faster than I planned. That's good news.
Yeah, they're repeating the questions. Actually, that's crazy. That's just a test to see if they've fried your brain already.
Yeah, probably. Aha, if you believe the first 30 questions were smart, then remember what you answered. Because the second 30 questions will be a lot harder.
But that's what the push-pull push-pull polls do as well, don't they? They ask you the same questions, just different wording, so you change your mind slowly.
I find it. Oh, damn it! I find it somewhat disconcerting that they do shit like this.
I'm not surprised. After all, this comes from a politician.
Yeah, a politician that made bank on it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that people take him serious.
You
I
know
seriously can't.
what? Well, convince me otherwise. But most politicians are in it for the money anyway. They're all making bank.
Maybe, but I mean, making bank on claiming to be in favor of the environment whilst flying around in a Gulf stream.
Yeah, that's Leonardo DiCaprio levels of hypocrisy, right?
Yeah, that's that goes one step beyond stupidity to me. But yeah, it's repeating itself, which makes it easy because that means we're done relatively on time. I thought I would take a long time today. So yeah, there is that. Well, thank you, Axel, for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure.
It was good fun, and I'm grateful that Carlos found it in his schedule to be able to join us as well. I've missed the guy; he should be here more often. But yeah, real life.
I had nothing
is
better
real
to do.
life.
I was just a little bit slow at the end because I'm actually multitasking right now, playing a bit of Borderlands, being bored with climate questions.
Well, the thing
But
is,
it's still entertaining.
most people are bored with climate questions, but most of the climate narrative is so not true. But people stop asking these questions. Most people want to be good people, so they'll accept whatever is being told and okay, yes sir, yes sir.
Accept it. Comply. 2 + 2 is 5. Winston.
Yeah. But yeah, there you have it. Yeah, do you have anything else to say? Well, obviously not about climate
We made
change.
wine today. I said everything in the chat that I needed to say anyway. So
Okay, and how many people are still in the chat? I should have still 7 viewers according to this thing. But I only see 2
raise
chatters.
hands, kid.
I can see
Well,
anxious
the
and
global
ludicrous.
warming has melted away the keyboards. Obviously.
But I hope you enjoyed the stream, people. Like, share, subscribe. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome. I know I always say, well, I don't always say it at the end of a stream. This is something I say at the end of my videos. If you have topics you would like to participate on add a stream, by all means let me know. John and I have started the SOT stream just for the fun of it. So yeah, I'm going to do more serious stuff as well, like today. So if you have anything you want to talk about, Anxious, I kind of am curious, how are things going with the Australian Tommy Robinson?
I know what we could call the stream today anyway. Super over-exaggerated temperatures. SOT.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Not quite elegant, but you know.
Yeah, there is that. I'm thinking about something else. I'm not quite sure anymore. Oh,
About dinner.
No, dinner. 1 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning. No.
Well, breakfast. Okay.
I'm hoping that Toxic is still out there. Toxic, I hope you're still there, because yeah, if so, drop me a line. Do we have anything to say to end this?
Abracadabra. End this.
Ludicrous and Anxious, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for joining us, Dominic and Paolo and all the other people who probably have already gone. I hope to see you all next week. Thank you, Axel, for joining me again. Real Raven, guys, go check out his stuff. It's time he makes more music, though. It's been a long time, isn't it? When's your next video coming out?
Is that? Can't tell you. It's a secret. Not working on it.
Anxious, should we do another stream on Blair Cottrell soon?
Oh, Toxic is back. Look, she said she had to go for a bit.
Hi there, Toxic. Do you want to check the OBS thing in a moment or another time? What would be best for you? I'm not looking forward to it. I have to go to a weekend meeting with an SJW crowd in a week to discuss climate crap.
You have to go there from your job, is it, Ludicrous?
Ludicrous, if you need information, mate, let me know, because I have been looking into this bullshit.
By the way, last thing I wanted to say, I had to replace an exploded TV. So I got one of these LG things, and then I put it up, and when I started to reading into the non-existing manual, I found out it had Alexa installed. So it'll actually listen to me, so now I can't have conversations in the living room anymore. Fucking hell.
Well, no worries, Toxic. See if you can catch me online next time, and I'll see if I can help you. And thank you, Anxious. I am looking forward to hearing from you. We could do another stream on the topic. Having said all these things, I think it's time for me to call it quits. So I'm going to say bye-bye to everyone, and
bye-bye.
Hope to see you all next time. And yeah.